I always tell my inventors the most important part is really just that brain dump, like all of the keywords, all of the ideas, all of that idea, all of the different ways of making your idea happen and your invention happen. Um, Make sure to have good written notes, and then make sure that you are, uh, documenting, that you have good drawings, etc. So I was sharing my idea was for a world map puzzle. And so here are some of the requirements, because this is like an educational game. So yes, it is. Yeah, knowing how to do this is really, really important. So I'll walk you guys through how I'm doing this for my idea, and then um, you can use some of this. And if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. So it's an educational game. And like I said earlier, the goal is, well, I mean, it could, Alfie, that's a good point. This could also be a software, like a software patent. But no, what I was thinking is like a good old board game where you have like tactical, like basically like you have different pieces of the puzzle, and each piece of a puzzle is a country or a region of an ocean. So that by putting that whole puzzle together, you're learning where each country goes, and it'll help you basically, yeah. So it's a board game. We have each piece is either a country or part of a sea/ocean or ocean. And the goal is to help people memorize where countries, help people with their geographical skills. Geographical skills. Okay. All right. So this is my brain dump. I'm going now to our Google Pant, and I'm going to just type the first thing that comes to mind. World map puzzle. Let's see what we're going up against. All right. Look at that. Coming from a Chinese pant. I'm going to open that in the new link. Geography puzzle and game. Platform. This one looks interesting, so we'll open this as well. I'm just opening things here. A learning puzzle. And now the question might be, some of these here, it says KR, so that's coming from Korea. This is a Taiwanese application. This is a Chinese application, the country code being in the first two letters. As far as US applications, it will tell you US, and then there's a bunch of numbers there. If it says US and then there's a year next to it, that's a publication. If it says US and then there is a bunch of different numbers, right now we're at 11 million, 12 million. So anything after that would be like an actual patent, issued patent. The other ones are just publications that might have been abandoned. So what I like to do sometimes, I open the ones that seem to be the most relevant, but here's what I like to do. Let's go here, and we only want to see what's happening in the US. Yes, Monica, that's a good question. You can see patents from all over the world here. If it's existed and it's part of WIPO, then it's here. So yes, and that's a really good question. So I am actually filtering here for just US. Office, and it could be utility or a design. I'm not sure I'm that interested in design for this, so we're going to go with the patents here so that we have the utility. And yes, Alfie, filters, baby. And it's back to just the three of us. Okay, let's see what we're going up against here. All right. Let's read their claims and see what this is about. Hopefully they used your idea for the software. So, okay, let's see here. Okay. different pieces being, my idea might have been done, guys. So, okay. Well, the reason I'm saying that is I'm looking um, at these drawings, and it looks like for each of the states, it might be a different piece here. But let's make sure that that's actually the case. A puzzle base, a plurality of plastic puzzle, each puzzle magnetically attachable to the puzzle base. Okay, I like that. That's a cool idea. And this is a publication that was abandoned. So, but that's all they're talking about. There is no delineation. Well, here for it. It has some state information, etc. But there's nothing here about how the cutouts are for that. If it's abandoned, does that mean you can take the patent? Yes, as long as it's exactly that. So if it's exactly what you're reading and it's fallen in the public domain, then yes. I would also advise on doing a little bit more thorough search just to make sure that there isn't anything else that is exactly on point. It is prior art. So for example, this right here, the way it is written, I can actually take it as long as no one else is, has another patent that is more aligned to what you're doing. So, okay, I still don't see that delineation for each geographical part and how those puzzles pieces fit together. So let's see. Sometimes a control F is your friend. I don't see that delineation. Let's see if they have any definitions on the pieces puzzle. They attach to the base, magnets, contour to show mountains. I think we're getting close, but okay. Okay. This is what I wanted, and somebody else is doing that. For example, the puzzle piece is in the shape of a country, state, continent, province, region, etc. Some areas, such as water, oceans, etc., are formed in the puzzle base during production of the puzzle base. But this was my main point of novelty, was the fact that each puzzle piece was in the shape of that country or that region. So unless I come up with more information, I'm going to get a rejection based off of this application. I'm not, even though I'm not doing any magnetic base, etc. So what I would recommend doing is I'm going to download this, and also what I'm going to do is save this in my document. Another thing you might want to do, and I don't need all of this here, another thing that you might want to do is if you go at the very bottom of the application, this is the best trick, honestly, today, if you don't take anything else away from this, is if you find something that is exactly spot on, go to cited by. And this will give you a forward-looking search on everything that was relevant after this has been done. So I'm intrigued by all of these. Honestly, these are all things that I'm interested in. So I want to make sure that none of these have additional information, etc. This is okay, clown, which this is completely different than what we wanted to do. So I'm not too worried about that one, but the rest of them might be on point. The other thing that I would recommend looking at, I'm just looking in the chat, how much time should an inventor spend on doing this kind of research? Guys, with like over a decade of experience, I still spend like a good couple of hours. So if you're brand new at this, I would budget a good afternoon or morning and go from there. And if you think you can't find anything, think again. You're probably just doing the search wrong, because there's over 11 million issued patents in the US alone. There's a lot of prior art out there. It's almost impossible to not find anything. When do you actually talk to a patent attorney? When you start finding things that are on point. Not exactly your invention, but close enough. Then you would know. Another things that I like to say in search is when you start going in circles. So you find relevant prior art, and then you keep digging, and then you start finding the same art again. That's when you know you've done a good search. All right, side advice. Another thing that I wanted to save or discuss is the classifications. We use a classification system here in the US, and that's basically what the examiners use when they're conducting their search at the USPTO. So all of these are relevant for me, or a lot of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste all of these and put them in my little cheat sheet. I don't really care for magnetic board games, but the geographical or like games, educational games, geographical games, this two-dimensional jigsaw puzzles, geometric shapes of individual playing fields. I don't know about that, but sure. Geographical games using geographical maps, all of this classification is on point. So later, when I am narrowing my search a little bit more, I might come back to this, putting a couple of keywords and exactly that classification that I'm looking for. All right, let's go back. This was really on point. So I'm concerned I don't have any ideas that are different than what these guys have already disclosed. So right now I don't really have much. Let's see. I believe these are related. Method of gaming thereof, base plate, etc. So because this is a Chinese application, if I really wanted to actually look at a better link, I would go to their Spacnet. And then you have access to the original application here. This is all machine translation, but it's machine translation that you can semi-trust. Original document for ladies and gentlemen who are fluent in Chinese, they can use this. That's another Taiwanese application with the terrain puzzle. Back to the one that shattered all my dreams. Korean application about also, I'm not sure what parallel pipe mean, but we get it. And let's go back to puzzle includes first piece, second piece matching selectively. I don't really know what this one is trying to do. Oh, communication between. So when I read claims like this, it just tells me that somebody who is not a patent attorney or a patent agent wrote this, right? Because this claim means nothing, really. It's a puzzle. It has a first puzzle piece and a second puzzle piece, releasable to one another, and a communication means provided to said first puzzle. Assembled along said matching contours. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. There's a communication between that first and second piece, but it still doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Let's see why these guys were abandoned. And your friend here is that link, the USPTO Patent Center. I lied. It was written by an attorney. Okay. They got a few rejections. They filed the case. There was a first non-final rejection. They addressed that, responded to it. There was a final one, and they decided to call it quits. So these guys are also using some sort of software here, I'm assuming. What is my criteria to identify relevant information when doing a search? Well, so like I know my invention, and the most important part for me of that invention was the fact that I wanted the cutouts around the countries or around the regions for people to remember where things are. So that's the language specifically that I'm looking for. And that was all done in that 2013 application. So yeah. So that's my criteria for that for exactly what I'm looking for there. So anyways, this application was abandoned. Let's look at these other ones. Okay, another abandoned application for a map with the plurality. Oh, and these guys have edible um, chips that they're using. I'm liking this idea even more. So what I can do, why are people abandoning their inventions? A lot of times, that's a really good question. A lot of times they abandon their inventions because they get a lot of rejections and either they don't have the funds to keep fighting the patent office or the work has been done and that's it. But I'm really liking this. So this is in the public domain. So if I do another search for edible puzzles with maps, I think we're onto something fantastic here. I think we have a great business idea. Let's see why these guys abandoned. So they were using a law firm up in Washington. I'm going to go to documents and transactions right there. See, they got their first non-final rejection and they fought it and then had a final rejection and they decided not to fight it anymore. So a lot of times people just decide to not further invest in their inventions, or their patent attorneys might have said, you know what, this is going to be very difficult to overcome, so we're not going to be able to get you a broad protection. Maybe it's time to abandon. Okay. Let's see. I think we're almost there. Another one, a puzzle system interworking with external devices. Well, this is way more complicated than what I had in mind. My invention was very simple. Welcome everybody. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. But we're doing a how to do a patent search, and I'm running through an example of an idea and an invention that I had. All right, this is more complicated, so it's not as on point as the first one. So all in all, let's see what this is. A map system with individual upper planner, transparent overlays, complementary electronic sensors. This is a lot more complicated than what I had in mind. And also these guys have an issued patent. So like I said, US with not the year number there means that the application was issued, and you can look here that it's still active. They've been paying their dues. Anticipated expiration date, assuming everything is done right, is 2035. So, and also this is more than what I had in mind. Mine was a lot simpler than that. It was basically spelled out in this 2013 application. So this is basically how I would do a patent search. I would first list a bunch of keywords of what makes my invention new, unique, non-obvious. And then I am collecting all the prior art here. And then once I find relevant prior art, I want to get their classification so I can narrow the search a little bit more. And voila. We're going to stop sharing the screen. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, ta-da! Today we did how to conduct a simple patent search. Thanks for joining us.